Good morning. This is Bradford Alhambria Gahaya. Saturday morning, July 20th. I just did a brief little meditation with this beautiful piece of selenite that was gifted to me from the mother selenite that I was cleansing yesterday with a power wash, literally a garden hose, because it had so much dirt on it. It needed to be done. And this piece shed it off of it, and so I decided to bless it and cleanse it and meditate with it. And I don't know if it'll do it again, but I was holding it and admiring it like I do. You kind of gaze into it to feel the crystal's energy, but you don't like stare harshly with your eyes. You have a soft gaze because you don't really see with your eyes. You actually see with your heart, and you feel it in here. So if you're looking at something and you feel any tightness here or down and through here, just relax and breathe as if you're the wind blowing through a chain-linked fence. Or you're the chain-linked fence and the wind is blowing through you. Instead of a chain-linked fence, how about a silk fabric? I like that better. So, anyway, and then I just was guided to put it on my third eye, and it did stay. There we go. Thank you. Of course, I asked permission. See, just wanted me to show you that. Now it needs to be cleansed because I'm using it and it fell into my cleansing area over there. They communicate with you when they bounce around, because crystals can't move on their own, and you think about that. You have to actually, they're dependent on us or other forces to move them around to get them where they want to be. So the people that mine the crystals, they're actually doing them a favor. If they're eco-conscious and they're, in balance and in harmony with the land and the ecosystems there, and sustainable. And, you can tell if a crystal's been mined from a mine that is just interested in profit and greed and pillage. And you can tell if the crystals come from a mine that they know the crystals are going to be transported to people like you and I that really appreciate the beauty and the power and their consciousness. It's like, but then again, I've rescued crystals that were mistreated, much like people go to the MSPCA and rescue animals. I really have, but some of them take a long time to nurture back into health because they are alive. Crystals are the third living kingdom on this planet, and people forget that. So anyway, Mr. Selenite here was bouncing around and was chilling on my third eye for probably about a half an hour while I was meditating, and the information that I got was, clarity, focus, calmness, tranquility, transparency. Transparency is a hot topic these days, especially with shoddy business practices, and transparency is an ideal for us all to live through because of this age of information. What you put out there is out there, and anyone can access anything. Of course, if you're concerned about your privacy, ask yourself what is it that you're doing that you feel uncomfortable about, that you don't want other people knowing. I mean, there's different sorts of privacy. Privacy of your bank account access is one thing, but privacy of your behaviors, if you're behaving with integrity and impeccability, there is no reason to want to hide any of that. It's just food for thought. So I felt some parts of my soul, fragments of my being, being drawn to me while I was meditating with the selenite. And I felt tingles in my left foot and right shoulder, this sort of diagonal. The body physical matrix is actually composed of vectors that intersect at different places, nodes, especially the central point here. So boink and boink, I felt it. And there were they came up, and I knew that they were me because I asked, and they were of love and light, and I said, are you me? And he said yes, and that was good, and because they were light and tingly, furthermore, and soft and gushy in a way that they were, malleable. And I asked them to enter into my being through the selenite consciousness, the filter of the selenite consciousness, because selenite purifies. That way, whatever energies they were bringing along were left or released and transmuted behind. And that process of integration took maybe about just 30 seconds, literally, and then I knew it was done because the selenite actually popped off and fell right in front of me, harmoniously, just boink, and because I didn't move or anything, I was still. So that was interesting and appreciated. And then I received this information, which is the reason for this video, that when these parts of me, they're actually whole sort of layers, not like a chunk of my aura over here floating around. They're actually like a hologram of me, but they were part of these ones in particular were part of my etheric field. And the etheric field, I used to think, was like this little, thick, 2-inch, 1.5-inch thick field that kind of goes immediately around your physical body, which it is, but the etheric field itself is striated. It's composed of numerous layers, bundles, much like a muscle or a cord has all those layers. Maybe a cord's not the thing, but a book has all those pages, right? So think of my body as a book, if you can, and the etheric body is it's layers and layers and layers and layers of information, of different aspects of myself that all harmoniously work together to create the etheric layer. And that is when I believe you can have soul fragments missing. This is the information I've been getting today. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what you believe the etheric field is itself. But it makes a lot of sense because the way that these bodies, parts of me, layers of my etheric field, they simply integrated and realigned themselves with this etheric field. And I believe the reason that this information came to me is the larger piece of selenite that this came from. And you can even see in this one, you look very, very closely, you can actually see that it's comprised of layers, of striations. So that if you were to take a cross-section of the etheric field, you would see these striations. And some of those striations are those bodies, like micro-bodies, if you will, in themselves. They can actually just pop out for whatever reason and decrease your level of sensitivity because of some trauma of the past. Or even if you're able to be consciously aware, you can leave part of yourself somewhere that needs to be there for whatever reason. And then if you have the ability to bring it back. In this case, these are all parts that I unconsciously left in places. They're little cells, basically, replications or striations of myself. And now they're back. And that is that. That was my morning meditation with my selenite friend that came to me. And it's very beautiful, as are you, and as am I. And something more and better. Thank you for listening. Ayatana she tanakota he tanaka. Thank you.